Hey guys, hey everybody, this is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, aka Vulcan Wolverine 2. I was supposed to go over this message board, this forum on my last live stream, but I didn't get to it, so I wanted to go over it now. It's some pretty important information. Like we know, target individuals know how dangerous 5G is and will be. It's using millimeter waves that go through walls a lot easier. I've seen a lot of videos that are saying that 5G is not dangerous, and those are all conspiracy theories and things like that. But as target individuals, we understand that this is, the rollout of this infrastructure and technology is part of a bigger plan to actually create as much of a neuro society as the top of the pyramid can create. How it's going to go, we're going to see. I know God has miracles in store for target individuals. I know we're coming up with more defensive solutions. Awareness is getting out there. We need to keep talking about it. It's a very important issue, and it's a scary thought that the way that our attackers, target individuals attackers, torture us and destroy our mind and destroy our body, but leave us walking around, right? To think about how many people that could affect once the infrastructure gets bigger, more citizens and more people are pulled into this, and also we know that whole communities and whole cities are being experimented on with directed energy, with broadband signals and things like that, and with 5G being rolled out more in the infrastructure, more satellites being put up, more radar, more over the horizon radar, ground radar, drones, that more cities will be experimented on. And the scary thought is that what I think, this is this is what I've learned in life, that to be a human is to have free will. Free will is to be human. These evil people, rolling this out and doing it in this kind of pyramid form of infrastructure to affect people with neuro weapons and signals and stuff like that. They won't just kill people. That'll be the merciful thing. They'll destroy people's minds and take away their free will and leave them walking around. So it's going to be the future. Let me not get into that. I just want to go through this article. We just need to keep getting this information out, keep getting people more aware of it, and as targeted individuals becoming more informed, so that we're more protected. We know what's going on with this. And then as we go into the future with this infrastructure, hopefully more very, very smart people in the public will chime in, will have solutions. Countries will protest against this. Hopefully, a lot of Americans will protest against it. Targeted individuals are already protesting against it. But do not be fooled if you are not a targeted individual and you're thinking 5G tech, it's all these. No, it's very evil, and they're going to use it for evil purposes. And if a millimeter, it's a lot of millimeter waves. They go through walls a lot easier. Like I was watching the T-Mobile commercial with Bill Nye, and that was one of his biggest points, is that 5G is being implemented, and it's like every couple of yards they have the phased array antennas, the technology to emit 5G. It's a millimeter wave, and it goes through walls a lot easier than all the previous generations. It is very dangerous to cause cancer and everything like that, but it's more dangerous because we're talking about, and in this article I'm going to talk about it, talking about voice to skull patents and technologies embedded in 5G, along with all the other apparatuses on these integrated neuro weapon systems that are gonna be embedded in those 5G towers, and it's gonna be a lot more potent, than what they've had before. But targeted individuals, I think, have already experienced this 5G that's being rolled out to the public, right? So it is a danger. It is a huge danger. It's obvious to targeted individuals. The public needs to know that it's very dangerous. It's not a conspiracy theory at all. That is propaganda. There's propaganda coming out that's purposeful, that knows that 5G is dangerous, but is yet saying it's not. And then there are some like YouTube channels and news outlets that really are reading propagandistic information and saying, oh, no, 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 it's not dangerous. Those are all just conspiracy theories. It's very dangerous. It's more dangerous than just being able to kill people with cancer or burn them or anything like that. Then there's the problem of mind control. Mind control. There's a problem with that. There's a problem with taking away people's free will, and having technology embedded in something where a person who maybe is not a targeted individual is walking along and something bubbles up in their inner voice, not heard by the ear, but bubbles up in their inner voice that was subliminal V2K, thinks it's their own thought and acts on that thought, right? So emotions, subliminal V2K, things like that, severe headaches, things that can be directly targeted or target whole communities and cities. And that is that's happening right now. That's been happening for a while, but with 5G, it will get worse. The hope is that as more people experience this, which is a horrible thing, right? This is a complicated topic. It's sometimes hard to talk on because I don't want more people to be targeted. Definitely, when you're a targeted individual, you don't want anybody to have to go through this. But with more people experiencing this stuff, with the greedy infrastructure that's being built, they're just going to keep doing it to everybody. They eventually want people's brains and nervous systems to be tied into the worldwide Internet of Things. That's what the top of the pyramid, what the military-industrial complex is. All these little component parts doing their little evil things. The top of the pyramid wants a worldwide Internet of Things where people's brains will be connected to this. Through catalysts that go in our cells, to our brains, nanotechnology, from chemtrail sprayed foods, put into the water supply and everything like that. Plus just our brainwave frequencies and our biofrequencies can be used once they kind of hook in. So let me get started. I actually did this video before, but I was getting really long-winded, and then I just did the same thing. So I just wanted to make a short video. I wanted to practice at doing that, guys, and just putting out some articles, putting the links out, so we can just keep getting the information out, right? So let's get started. So patented voice-to-skull mind control technology embedded in 5G tech. And this is actually from a Turner Classic Movies forum, and it's from, I think, a Dave Hodges, The Common Sense Show, which I haven't listened to a lot of them, but this is really, really good information. So freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. I like that. I was actually before I did, I won't get into that. Before this video, I was like, we need something where we could just hack into, just come over people's TV sets and computers and just have a signal just explaining what's happening and really get it organized and just have a 5-minute warning this is happening, kind of like on what's that, They Live, the people, the guy cuts through the broadcast, and I was like, oh, there's too many streaming services and people have different stuff. That's how crazy I am. That's how crazy I am from all this. So let me just calm down and read this. God's got this. God's got this. The world goes through things. The world goes through things. But there are forces for good in this universe, and we've got to calm down. We've got to stay calm, carry on, and do the right thing, always. Always do the right thing, and you'll be okay. And you'll win in this life. No matter what happens to your brain, no matter how much torture you go through, you do the right thing, you be a good person, and you'll win. And you'll win, and you'll have some of the most powerful good in the universe, God, in the name of Jesus Christ. You'll have that on your side. It's way more powerful than any of this. So voice-to-skull technology embedded in 5G mind control reaches its apex. So this is from Dave Hodges' point of view. Recently, I was approached by a self-described insider who had at one time worked for DARPA. He insisted that the new 5G technology being rolled out across the country was both lethal and contained mind control elements that should alarm all people. I thought the claims were outrageous and without I think he meant without scientific justification. Don't misunderstand me. I know that mind control exists. However, 5G being an element of mind control surprised me. Subsequently, I began a literature search and I found the mother lode. Subsequent to my search, I found the patent that should scare the hell out of Americans. Should scare the hell out of people worldwide. Because this is being done worldwide, and the bigger countries make alliances with the smaller countries, right? To give them certain technology to be able to experiment on their citizens and collect some of that data. So it's a worldwide thing, a global thing, and targeted individuals know that. So United States Patent 6017302, this guy named Luce on January 25th, 2000, subliminal acoustic manipulation of nervous systems. So abstract and human subject sensory resonances can be excited by subliminal atmospheric acoustic pulses that are tuned to the resonance frequency. The 1/2 hertz sensory resonance affects the autonomic nervous system and may cause relaxation, drowsiness, or sexual excitement depending on the precise acoustic frequency near 1/2 hertz used. And then we know they can also do the opposite. They can make you not relaxed, severely anxious, which that happens to me a lot. My attackers try and make me severely anxious so that it's hard to do things. And then people don't, they don't want people to react positively to us. They want us to look like we're on crank or something, and we're crazy people, and we just do drugs or whatever. So they, tune the frequency, that 1/2 hertz frequency, and I'm sure there's some other frequencies, obviously, that they mess with us by, to make us like anxious, or not, instead of drowsy, not being able to sleep. And instead of sexual excitement, making us not sexually excited at all, depending on what kind of protocol they're using on you, depending on what they want to do to you, because a bunch of different contractors doing this. The effects of the 2.5 hertz resonance include slowing of certain cortical processes, sleepiness, and disorientation. For these effects to occur, the acoustic intensity must lie in a certain deeply subliminal range. Suitable apparatus consists of a portable battery-powered source of weak sub-audio acoustic radiation, and that would be electromagnetic radiation. The method and apparatus can be used by the general public as an aid to relaxation, sleep, or sexual arousal, and clinically for the control and perhaps treatment of insomnia, tremors, epileptic seizures, and anxiety disorders. This technology can also do the opposite, right? It can do good things. Electromagnetic frequencies, certain hertzes can make you feel good or happy or sexually aroused or whatever, or drowsy. They can also make you sleepless, anxious, depressed. There's also, and it's not in this patent, they don't talk about it, but I'm starting to research more and more about certain parts of the brain, like my attackers just wiped it from mine. I had it up on the amygdala. The amygdala, your thyroid, your pituitary gland, those can be affected when certain frequencies are sent to the brain. Your amygdala can be affected. So think about what the amygdala does. The amygdala pushes back. Like if you are fearful or anxious of something, your brain will kind of put it on the back burner, right? You have certain functions of things inside of the brain. Structures like the amygdala, the pineal gland, and things like that. And these frequencies can affect those and my attackers are really blanking me out. That can also be done. It's being done right now. I have V2K that I'm hearing right now, and my attackers are trying to wipe my short-term memory while I'm speaking. So think about that when they're building this infrastructure more and more. And I think that what the system wants to do that's in control is they want to be able to do that to anybody at any time. Even if they're not hooked in yet, they want to be able to go, boop, that guy's about to say something dangerous, or that woman's about to say something dangerous, boop, erase that. or we need to look into this person's mind because they're a threat to the to the to the leading class or whatever, the ruling class. Okay, so there is further application as a non-lethal weapon that can be used in law enforcement and standoff situations for causing drowsiness and disorientation in targeted subjects. And we know that they can do a lot more than that. This is just one patent for sensory resonances for this the 1/2 hertz, 2.5 hertz subliminal acoustic manipulation of the nervous system. So there's further application in targeted subjects. It is then preferable to use venting acoustic monopoles in the form of a device that inhales and exhales air with sub-audio frequency. So the inventor was Hendrikus G. Luce, and it was filed on October 31st, 1997. The patent goes on to further describe the workings of this acoustic technology. Experiments have shown that atmospheric acoustic stimulation of deeply subliminal intensity can excite in a human subject the sensory resonances near 1/2 hertz and 2.5 hertz. The 1/2 hertz resonance is characterized by ptosis of the eyelids, relaxation, drowsiness, a tonic smile, tenseness, or sexual excitement, depending on the precise acoustic frequency near 1/2 hertz that is used. The observable effects of the 2.5 hertz resonance include a slowing of certain cortical functions, sleepiness, and after longer exposure, dizziness and disorientation. According to my inside source, hold on one second, guys. So we've all experienced that, right? We've all experienced like our attackers making us drowsy or sleepless or doing it the other way, or making us like sexually excited or the opposite. And then the slowing, I saw this movie where they were saying it was actually Serenity because it talks about mind control, but it's like in a science fiction sense, and they talk about neural stripping. I don't know if that's a real term. I'm gonna kind of look it up, but like my brain has been messed with for so long with directed energy, with neuro weapons, that it's like it messes up my cognitive function to be able to like when I talk to be able to. It's happening right now. I mean, my attackers are doing it right now. There's a natural effect of like my neurons not firing right. Because they've been so just there, all this artificial stimulation, artificial destimulation, interference, where our neurons get messed up, and then you have your attackers doing way more specific stuff. I thought neural stripping, even though I don't know if it's a real term, was pretty accurate. It just sounded like, yeah, I mean, my neurons are being stripped, Okay, so according to my inside source, that when the brain reaches a 2.5 hertz, it is vulnerable to implantation of ideas and suggestions for behavioral modification. I was stunned when I found this passage in the description section of the patent because it matched what I was told by the former DARPA source. So he's telling them that these patents are embedded in 5G. And in the stuff that's been being done to target individuals is being done to us by these integrated neuro weapons, these integrated directed energy weapon systems. That kind of stuff, it's being incorporated into 5G. It's being incorporated in these 5G, these phased array antennas that put out millimeter waves. That's going to be like a couple of yards from each other, and they're gonna keep building that infrastructure so that it can affect more people. So this is happening. It's not a conspiracy theory. Millions of people are experiencing it worldwide. We just have to keep talking about it. That's the smartest people that I've known. That's what they say to do. Robert Duncan, John McAfee, Barry Trower. They say, people ask them, what do we do about this, right? And they say, talk about it. Gotta keep conversating about it until people get it and people it becomes a common topic, you know. And then it's harder for this the military industrial complex and these people doing this top secret experimentation with, you know, with their clearances and stuff. It's harder for them to get away with it. There are things that will be built in place to protect people, to police the technology, and to maybe get a little bit ahead of it, right? So know that that's like what the smartest people say to do. Also, we should pray and have a lot of faith and just be good people, and you know, just talk about it. But the smartest people, like the brainiacs, they say keep talking about it. Just keep talking about it. So the finding that these sensory resonances can be excited by atmospheric acoustic signals of deeply subliminal intensity opens the way to an apparatus and method for acoustic manipulation of a subject's nervous system, wherein weak acoustic pulses are induced in the atmosphere at the subject's ears. Let's read that again. The finding that these sensory resonances can be excited by atmospheric acoustic signals of deeply subliminal intensity opens the way to an apparatus and method for acoustic manipulation of a subject's nervous system, wherein weak acoustic pulses are induced in the atmosphere at the subject's ears. Pulse, you know, you feel the pulses, you feel electromagnetic fields around the head, but they can also just induce resonant pulses, you know, sonic pulses basically around the ears to affect the vestibular system, to affect your outer and inner ear as a pathway to the brain, sending subliminal messages to the brain, or sending inaudible V2K and the like, where it would seem like, oh, that's just my inner voice giving me a thought, but it ain't your inner voice, and your brain produced it, but was raped into producing that inner voice thought. And the pulse frequency is tuned to the resonance frequency of the selected sensory resonance. The method can be used by the general public for control. The method can be used by the general public for control of insomnia and anxiety, and for facilitation of relaxation and sexual arousal. And I'm sure that there are already devices like that. There are phone apps where you can calm yourself down with certain resonances and things like that. That's the consumer side of it. But then you got the military industrial complex having more advanced, more advanced frequency bands and things like that to do negative things, and to experiment and to move forward with mind control, seeing how they can push our beliefs, or push our actions, or push our emotions, and actually, I think with people who are less susceptible to hypnosis, I think it becomes a long-term behavioral conditioning. So that's what a lot of you guys might be experiencing. I know it's what I experience because I'm not very susceptible to hypnosis, but over a long period of time, especially when I'm asleep, my feelings and my thoughts are affected a lot by this stuff. Based upon the above description, we are seeing acute and dramatic behavior modification as a result of this technology. Yes, acute means a lot. Acute and dramatic. Based upon the above, we are seeing acute and dramatic behavioral modification as a result of this technology. Clinical use of the method includes the control and perhaps the treatment of anxiety. See, they're saying the good stuff about it, right? But there's also the really, really bad stuff. For the Zersetzung purposes of the targeting program and all the millions of targeted individuals around the world, it's like, oh, we'll do this negative subliminal suggestions, the pain, the trauma, trauma-induced behavioral control, and V2K psychic driving, as well as like just the torture, the severe torture to make someone worse, to make their life worse, to make them feel worse, instead of like a therapy that helps people. It's a thing to slowly disintegrate somebody's life and their mind. Let's see. Okay, so clinical use of the method includes the control and perhaps the treatment of anxiety disorders, tremors, and seizures A suitable embodiment for these applications is a small portable battery. Did I already read that? No, is a small portable battery-powered sub-audio acoustic radiator which can be tuned to the resonance frequency of the selected sensory resonance. The significance of the behavioral modification potential of this technology is dramatically described in the preceding paragraph. The following paragraph of the patent description explains how this technology can be used at a distance. There is an embodiment suitable for law enforcement operations in which a subject's nervous system is manipulated from a considerable distance, as in a standoff situation, and it's way further with over-the-horizon radar and ground radar and even 4G technologies. Well, I think there's actually some things that are not quite 4G technologies on the top of microwave towers, phased array antennas that the FCC doesn't necessarily know what kind of frequencies are being pumped through, and those belong to the military-industrial complex, and it can cover way more of a distance. And they also use drones as stopgap and things like that. They can cover miles and miles to hit somebody with a radar signal, with a radar electromagnetic frequency. But this is talking about like some devices that police already have. So law enforcement does know about these things, right? We know that. Like the at least the management, the sergeants and captains, they know about this technology. So when we go and talk to them and say we're being targeted by directed energy weapons, they have those kind of weapons specifically for this, for like if somebody's holding a hostage or whatever. To hit them, make them drowsy or whatever. They know about these technologies and they lie about it. And then some law enforcement. I don't think the people attacking me are law enforcement, like my microwave attackers. But I don't know. In some targeted individuals' cases, it could be law enforcement hitting them from a long way away. So obviously, I mean, we're living in just the largest corrupt society that's ever existed in human history, and these evil people who use these technologies, it's like, oh, we're not touching anybody, so it doesn't really count. People's minds have been twisted in so many ways, and now they're trying to find a more direct way to twist people's minds. Well, they're using it. They're not trying to find a way. They found a way. They're trying to use it and perfect it more and advance it more and everything like that. But then the evil people doing this, their minds have been so twisted that they're like, well, if we're just shooting microwaves at somebody's brain and controlling it that way, it doesn't really exist. People don't know about it, so it doesn't really count, So this is an ultimate, we are in a war, a perception war, a war between good and evil that is completely, I mean, it's on. This is a war on right now for our minds. Targeted individuals we're in an extreme front of the battlefield, but pretty much everybody is in this war, for humanity, to keep our humanity, to keep our free will, to keep our will to do what's right. People are being just like shoved off of the path, and and then evil people just do whatever they need to do to keep their station in life for the time being, not caring about their children that could be hit by these technologies and hurt in the future, or children being born and never even once experiencing their own formulated thoughts, like to where it can be set up where thoughts could be controlled from the beginning of birth, like in the womb. It's pretty, okay, let me just read. We have our hope in Jesus Christ. We have our hope in God. And God is an objective fact to me. And miracles happen. And once there's so many smart people in the public who are also very, very moral. And so we're seeing a lot of solutions now. We're gonna see more and more solutions and things from the good side. Like the evil kind of always gets a one-up at the beginning, because they don't really have anything to do besides take over the world. Good people kind of want to live life, but as things progress, good always backlashes. So there's a lot of very genius-like people in the public that will come up with just brilliant solutions before all this kind of closes in, I think, on the population of the Earth. So there's an embodiment suitable for law enforcement operations in which a subject's nervous system is manipulated from a considerable distance, as in a standoff situation. Subliminal sub-audio acoustic pulses at the subject's location may then be induced by acoustic waves radiating from a venting acoustic monopole. So a venting acoustic monopole, which would be like a monopole, you'd have 5G on top of that, right? Or by a pulsed air jet, especially when aimed at the subject or at another material surface where the jet velocity fluctuations are wholly or partly converted into static pressure fluctuations. The described physiological effects occur only if the intensity of the acoustic stimulation falls in a certain range, called the effective intensity window. This window has been measured in exploratory fashion for the 2.5 Hz resonance. The ability to embed mind control into the 5G range is discussed in the patent. The very low frequency waves needed for the acoustic stimulation of the vestibular nerve may also, so acoustic signals and electromagnetic signals can affect the vestibular system. You have vestibular nerves in your eyes and your ears. And that's what James G. Adorno and all these doctors talk about: electromagnetic pulses or sonic acoustic stimulation of those to actually produce an effect in the brain that they want. If it resonates with your brain at the right hertz, then it can produce a sound or a thought or a feeling for your autonomic nervous system. Like, like a lot of target individuals talk about, like, your attackers will make you have to go pee. They're accomplishing that by sending a certain resonance frequency through your vestibular system. It sends a signal to the brain, and then the brain tells the nervous system, I gotta pee, right? So that's just one example, and there's a lot of other examples of that. So the very low frequency waves needed for the acoustic stimulation of the vestibular nerve may also be provided by a sound system in which weak sub-audio pulses are added to audible audio program material. This may be done in the customary manner way of adding the currents from these signals at the inverting input of an operational amplifier. I have no idea what that means. The amplitude of the pulses is chosen such that the strength of the resulting acoustic pulses lies in the effective intensity window. Experiments in our laboratory have shown that the presence of audible signals, such as music or speech, does not interfere with the excitation of sensory resonances. Experiments in our laboratory have shown that the presence of audible signals, such as music or speech, does not interfere with the excitation of sensory resonance. That's a pleasing music. I guess maybe it's certain excitation. Maybe certain sensory resonances music can't affect, but then some of the things our attackers are doing, it does affect. I know. That's weird. I don't know if that's right. I don't know. They may just be saying that the amplitude of the pulses is chosen such that the strength of the resulting acoustic pulses lies in the effective intensity window. The invention can also be implemented as a sound tape or CD-ROM, which contains audible audio program material together with subliminal sub-audio signals. The recording can be done by mixing the audio and sub-audio signals in the usual manner. In choosing the sub-audio signal level, one must compensate for the poor frequency response of the recorder and the electronics at the ultra-low sub-audio frequencies used. The above paragraph contains a description of what is known as voice-to-skull technology. It's one way to do voice-to-skull technology, right? There are a couple of different ways. There's like bone conduction. There's like a certain acoustic resonance to the vestibular system. Then there's actually heating up the brain, where then the brain sends a signal to the inner ear. There's a couple of different ways. This is one. The above paragraph contains a description of what is known as voice-to-skull technology. The process was popularized by Dr. Nick Begich in his book Angels Don't Play This Harp. Begich describes how he provided the European Union legislature with a personal demonstration of implanting voices into someone's head in a technological approach Begich referred to as voice-to-skull technology. The European Union leaders were so stunned, they passed a resolution against the use of the technology. And nobody, the military-industrial complex of every country ignored that and continue to ignore it, and will implement more infrastructure to go ahead and ignore it even more. There's been a lot of, like, the Russian parliament banned directed energy weapons in Russia, but Russia still experiments on its own citizens. The European Union has passed resolutions, trying to control this technology or not let people use it. And the military-industrial complex of these nations just ignore those. They just do it at a level of top secret clearance, and it's not being, it's not a transparent thing. So they just do it illegally. They make their own rules, like, oh well, okay, there are some resolutions passed and whatever, but against terrorism, we gotta experiment on innocent people, and we've got to torture innocent people, right? And it's a lot more complicated than that. They also claim, a lot of us, like, that we're terrorists, right? We're put on that list of, like, people, we're dangerous to America or something, because they need to experiment on people, and then it gets caught up with DHS fusion centers and gang stalking, and then we're enemy of the state, just because, just a random pick, just like randomly, oh, we need somebody to experiment on, so, oh, they're the bad guy, and then other agencies actually think that we're bad people, and citizens think that we're bad people, and then they heap more, more trauma and more torture on us, and harassment, just kind of digging in, just kind of, putting the cherry on the top of already being microwave tortured and mind controlled. So unmistakable referencing to mind control. Brain mapping under the guise of research has the strong appearance of being a whole lot more than someone's laboratory investigation. Consider the very telling excerpt in which project managers state that they want to implant electrodes in hundreds of cell membranes by an army of nanoparticles, which will allow these nanoparticles to become part of the cell membrane functioning. The process is described in the project manager's own words. Nanoprobes bearing several dozen electrodes, for instance, could be stacked to probe hundreds of thousands of recording sites and transmit data wirelessly. So this is one of the catalysts, right? Nanoprobes, nanotechnologies, dust-sized nanochips that people breathe in. They breathe in, or they drink in the water supply, or they eat. Who knows? Maybe McDonald's has a partnership or cooperates with the military-industrial complex and puts nanoparticulates in some of its food, and the employees don't even know about it. Who knows how far this stuff has gone? Who knows, right? Because innocent citizens are just being hooked into by streams of energy, and they're seeing what they can make us think, and psychic driving us and raping our families, so who knows how far it's gone to put nanoparticulates in things that people in society come in contact with. Also, obviously, and this is just a fact, it's just a fact from research, and people can say conspiracy theory because that's what the truth is now called. Truth is now called conspiracy theory, and nutty, insane, like, things that are really bad for humanity are called, like, smart and true. Chemtrails do have nanoparticulates, and they have dust-sized microchips in them that everybody's breathing in, passes the blood-brain barrier, goes into our lungs, and then can give a signal, can connect with electromagnetic frequencies and electromagnetic fields to do specific functions to get certain signals back to our attackers and the AI that is also being used to tap into people's brains and bodies. So, which will allow these nanoparticles to become a part of the cell membrane functioning. The process is described in the project manager's own words. Nanoprobes bearing several dozen electrodes, I already read this and I didn't even remember. Nanoprobes bearing several dozen electrodes, for instance, could be stacked to probe hundreds of thousands of recording sites and transmit data wirelessly. Alternatively, nanoparticles carrying molecules that bring them to specific cell types could lodge in a cell membrane so surgical placement wouldn't be necessary. All right, they can put implants in people surgically while you're having a surgery or something. They don't need that anymore. I think they still do it, but now they can use nanoparticulates that can go into the cell membranes in the brain, past the blood-brain barrier. Also, I don't even think that they need nanoparticulates. I think maybe for an introductory tapping into your brainwave frequency, I think they may need these nanoparticulates. But then after that, they can use just your unique brainwave frequency or biofrequency. I'm not sure about that, but that's kind of how I see it. I don't see how they'd just be able to like randomly take a person and just tap into their unique brainwave frequency without really having it. I don't know. I think they could. Yeah, I think they could. I think they could do it without. But they have, basically the point is though, they have catalysts, nanoparticulates that can actually go into cell membranes, and then that's very easy to tap into to get a signal back from the brain of what you're thinking, what you're visualizing, and things like that. And I know it's a lot more complicated than this, guys, but you know, I'm just going over the information in this article. Still got this thing. It's like a pimple pop right there. Okay, the nanoparticles could also carry molecules that can sense electrical activity, pressure, or even certain chemicals, revealing brain activity. So, and then there's a video underneath this. I'm going to put the link in the description. What is described above is the delivery system for this technology. I sum up the finding in the following short video. This is a good video. I'm gonna I haven't watched it, so I don't know if it's a good video, but if he explains more about this, then it's definitely a good video. So let's read this. Okay, so United States Patent 5.159.703, Lowry, October 27, 1992. Silent subliminal presentation system. Inventors Lowry, Oliver M. Application number 458339, file December 28, 1989. Discussed the microwave technology necessary for mind control. In this patent, we witness the move from the mind control of certain individuals who might have been programmed, which is frightening enough, to witnessing entire populations being controlled. They're already working on that. They've already been working on that for a while. Whole communities and whole cities already. During this war in Africa, they increased the bloodlust of one side from an airplane, a wideband signal to them. And my attacker's like closing up my throat. The thing about 5G is when they have this 5G rolled out to strengthen this infrastructure and actually, add more millimeter waves that can then really see through walls and are a lot more powerful and intense to connect with some of the nanotechnology in us, then it's going to be easier to emit a signal from all the 5G in an area and make the mind control of a whole community or city way more easy to do. I mean, they're already doing it. They're already doing this from Gwen Tower. I mean, there's so many things. The infrastructure has so many different things: drones, Gwen towers, over-the-horizon radar, ground radar. You guys do understand this. Targeted individuals. We always are like, well, no, it's drones doing it. Oh, no, well, it's just satellites. All this stuff is used in the infrastructure to cover the globe and be able to send frequencies to anybody that they want to on Earth. So it's a lot more complicated than this, and I guess that should be a bottom line for targeted individuals to understand. It's a lot more complicated than just like, okay, drones are hitting you, or it's just microwave towers. There's a huge infrastructure where things can come from satellites. The satellites can route signals. Then you've got thousands and thousands of satellites being put up. This 5G is adding to that infrastructure. It's another mechanism. It's another mechanism that then they can also pipe these signals through. Smart meters are part of the infrastructure. It's part of the infrastructure to have electromagnetic fields in people's houses that then they can surveil people easier and target them easier. The electrical wiring in your house can also be used. Fields around that electrical wiring can also be used to surveil you easier or hurt you, right? So it's this huge infrastructure that is just being completely misused, completely abused, and they're moving forward with 5G, and it'll make your internet a couple of seconds faster. We should know that the what it's doing, like your internet's going to be a couple of seconds faster, maybe your phone's going to be a couple of seconds faster. We should know it's BS, that this is needed. We should smell it. And there's all these channels, these YouTube channels with like millions of views that are like, oh, 5G's not dangerous at all. And they thought that about streetlights. When streetlights came out, they thought those were dangerous and they were going to disrupt humanity. They're twisting it. There's so much propaganda. 5G is very dangerous. It's dangerous not only causing cancers and brain damage and things like that when not even directed directly towards a person, towards a human being, but also the dangers of actually directly mind controlling more people, or more an easier method of mind controlling whole communities, affecting whole communities. So 5G coming to a neighborhood very soon. Let's see. So what is that? It says, let me read that again, guys. Okay, so, and I'm not trying to spread fear, guys. We just gotta be aware of what's happening. I really have a hard time with that because, like, I know that this information, we've got to be calm and stuff. Like, I've got to be calm. I got to calm down. I got to trust in God. I got to trust in good. And then just talk about this, keep our wits about us and everything like that. But it needs to be discussed heavily. Don't ever listen to somebody just saying, oh, 5G's not dangerous, and that's the end of discussion. And making fun of people who know that it's dangerous. Targeted individuals are being hit with electromagnetic fields and directed energy. Trust us, 5G is dangerous. They're going to be able to hit more people in groups of people and communities and stuff easier. They can already do it. So with 5G coming in, it's like, they just want to be able to make it more intense and to be able to more easily hit anybody that they want to. Filling in that infrastructure, right? The constant building up of this infrastructure of control to put people's brains and nervous systems into the Internet of Things. So that, oh, cool, you can turn off your refrigerator with your brain. And that's what they're going to tell the public, right? Oh, you can turn on your computer with your brain, or you can move your cursor with your brain and stuff like that. You'll be connected wirelessly to your computer. Very convenient, very cool. So they'll tell everybody, but then the top of the pyramid in the military industrial complex of all these nations and agencies and things like that will be able to hurt people easier. We'll be able to, and I don't even think it's bad, right? Hurting people, torturing them, that's bad, but I think the mind control aspect is way more dangerous because they can take people's free will away. It's like with me, they haven't been able to take my free will away, and they've been steadily hardcore torturing me and using neuroweapons on me for a long time. But as this rolls on, they'll learn how to do it quicker and quicker. To even people who are not very susceptible to hypnosis. It's about 1 in 5. 1 in 5 people is very susceptible to hypnosis. But even so, even so, they're just trying to make it easier and easier, and more streamlined and more streamlined. So yeah. Okay, so let me read this over. Okay, so this patent, filed December 28, 1989, discusses the microwave technology necessary for mind control. In this patent, we witnessed the move from the mind control of certain individuals who might have been programmed, which is frightening enough. It's really, we shouldn't fear though. I've been there. I've been there, kind of going back and forth, but there's a lot of good in this universe. It's just a technology. Humanity is strong. Good humanity is strong. Evil humanity is weak. They're weak and they latch onto the system and they do whatever the system tells them to, and that their power is really an illusion that can be just shattered at any moment. But real good is very powerful. Being connected to God is super powerful. To witnessing entire populations being controlled. 5G coming to a neighborhood very soon. Welcome to the brave new world where very soon the globalists will own everything, including your thoughts. And see, if they make this grid, right, this neuro society, if somebody comes up with a great idea for a book or a great invention, that thought can be pulled out of their head. It can be put into somebody else's head who's more part of the elites. Like let's say what? Let's say this happens. Like, well, let's not a neuro society happen. Let's just on theory, right? Because I hope that it stopped. We gotta keep talking about this stuff so that the public can get involved and we can have more protests not just about targeted individuals, right? Because everybody in the world is targeted at certain levels, right? At certain levels. We're extreme. Like, we have teams of people in AI that's specifically targeting us, but everybody on the globe is targeted in some way. With electromagnetic frequencies, with propaganda, with lies, with new patents, that lily waves that actually come out, like flicker rates of the TV and stuff like that. But let's say, like, okay, say a neuro society happens and I live in that neuro society. Say I wasn't targeted though, and I lived in that neuro society. I think of this great idea for a book about, like, I don't know, I don't know, but just a good idea for a book. It's just the best story ever, and I'm about to write that. But they've already taken that, and they want, and some elite little kid or whatever, he's in one of those families, and they're like, hey, look, you can have this idea now. They can just give your idea to anybody else, or they can just like take it into a bigger AI matrix and then just smack. Well, going too far with that metaphor, but you guys know what I'm saying. We won't even have the right to our own thoughts. We need to become neuroethicists, and we need to start talking about neuroethics and cognitive liberty a lot. And then these are a lot more patents. Method and system of altering consciousness, method for incorporating brainwave entrainment into sound production. A lot of patents, a lot of good information on this. I'm not going to go through them all, guys, but I am going to put the link. I'm going to put the link to this message board in the description for my video, and I'm also going to put the link to this video right here in the description box for my video. Also, please help the channel out and donate to paypal.me/Vulcan Wolverine. Paypal.me/Vulcan Wolverine. I really want to get like a better camera and some stuff. Kind of get with it. Get things going. And I will, probably this weekend I'll definitely be doing some live streams and stuff. Let's see, was I successful? No, it was not. 54 minutes is not a great success. I wanted to make this like a 15 minute to 30 minute video. But I'm practicing. I'm going to practice making some shorter videos and stuff like that, so I can be doing those and then have some bigger live streams and kind of get some traction so that I can promote some other target individuals' channels coming up and things like that. But all right, guys. So thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep talking about this topic. I know it is complicated, and it's hard to know exactly what's on the horizon with what's coming. But so many people are speaking out about 5G. So many people are speaking out about autonomous weapon systems, and these things are global issues, right? That aren't very hidden. People have concerns about 5G. People have concerns about autonomous weapon systems. Those things are directly related to targeted individuals and what we've been saying for so long. So very hopeful that people are starting to understand these issues surrounding the topic of non-consensual, torture with electromagnetic frequencies, and this does all tie into that. All right, guys, I love y'all. Stay strong. Endure in faith, as David Irwin said. I'm going to use that, David. I mean, it's a saying, but David Irwin says it a lot. I really like it. Endure in faith. Be brave. And let's just keep going. Let's keep talking about this stuff. And I'll probably, I don't know if I'll do a live stream tomorrow, guys, but definitely this weekend. You know. All right, I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I hope you're finding some comfort, and I'll see you on the next one.